I did not see it share.
I don't have a PowerPoint screen. Should just be video.
Oh, okay. Just video of you. Yes, I can see you. Sorry, Bhante.
Yeah. So actually, what's happened? I put a little desk in front because they said my video wasn't high enough last time. So I decided I'd sit on a chair, and so that's why earlier I was sitting on a seat. So okay. So in this kind of situation, you can feel some people feel that their meditation they feel frustrated and they're not happy. They think I'm not able to do anything. So the Mangala Sutta has a systematic instruction, and it starts right from the beginning, um, starting with this not associating with fools, but associating with the wise. And it goes all the way to attaining complete liberation from suffering. So today we're going to look at a couple of stanzas from this sutta, but we're not just going to look at Mangala Sutta. We're going to look at some other places in the Tipitaka that give some advice in this regard. Um, So one of the stories that the Buddha mentions about this related to this verse in Pali, asevana chabalanang anditanang sevana, is Akitti Jātaka. Akitti Jātaka is story number 480 in the Jātaka collection. Um, so I've summarized. It's a bit of a long story, so I've summarized it. In that lifetime, the Bodhisattva was born in Varanasi. And at that time, his family was quite wealthy. So when it came time for his education, they decided to send him to Takshila. So Takshila is a city in northeastern, modern day we would consider it northeastern Pakistan. In those days, it was a great center of learning. And in a bit later times, it was part of the Silk Road. So in that life, his name was Akitti. And so Akitti stayed in Takshila for a number of years because, of course, at that time you couldn't easily travel. You don't have a map, but if you sometime take a look where Varanasi is and where Takshila is, it's quite a distance. So he would have stayed there during his entire studies and only coming back when he's returned to live in his hometown. So when he turned 16, he graduated and he did return to his hometown. And at that time, shortly after that, both of his parents passed away. So he had one sister to split the inheritance with, and they arranged all of the funeral arrangements, and they also had some discussion with each other about the period of mourning and everything. So they completed the period of mourning, and then it came time to divide the wealth according to the parents' will and testament. At that time, Akitti felt a sense of disgust sweep over him. He felt none of this, like the owners of all this wealth, they passed away. They don't have any more chance uh, to enjoy this wealth. And so, if I take it on, I'll be the same. When it comes time to die, I have to give it up. Somebody else will have to enjoy this. And he was so upset by this thought, he decided to go forth as a monk, or I guess we can just say an ascetic, because it wouldn't be a monk in the sense of an order. He would just go forth to meditate in the forest alone. So he told his sister, "You can have everything." And when his sister heard this, she said she was a bit surprised, but she felt the same way. She didn't want she didn't want all this wealth either. And she felt the same way. It's not worth it to live this kind of a life as a wealthy merchant in Varanasi. And so she went with her brother, decided to go with her brother and become a nun practicing in the forest. So they started to give away all of their wealth, but after some time they sort of got tired of that and they just abandoned it. They just left it for anyone to take, and they went off to practice meditation. But at that time, they were quite well known and people were following them. They were quite renowned, and they had to go to the extreme south of India. And they went to practice on an island in between Sri Lanka and India and practice there alone in a place where no one else was living. And as a result of that, actually, it doesn't mention the sister after this, so we'll just talk about Akitti. So as a result of that, he had to live on boiled leaves from a certain kind of tree that grew on the island. So he would prepare those leaves every day and live off that and continue his meditation. 大家好，欢迎参加我们2025年语文局第5次的佛法开始讲座。佛陀通常透过讲故事的形式或直接给予建议来指导前来求教的人。例如，在地藏经 Mangala Sutta 中，佛陀以劝诫人们不要与人交往为开始，以直到彻底战胜所有烦恼为结束。此经文阐明了一系列循序渐进到达涅槃的步骤。记住这一点很重要，因为许多新进禅修者他们都付出了巨大的努力来修习禅定，直到生活被改变。这不一定是以悲剧的形式，也可能是工作上新的职责，或是家中迎来了新的成员。就算感到自己的禅修努力受挫，他仍可能建立一个基础，在未来机缘汇聚再次禅修时，为你提供支柱。这些不同的步骤不仅只能提供现实可见的实际支持注意，还能为未来积聚功德的业力加持。回头吉祥经在注释中有引用一个特定的故事来阐明第一个递送：不与人交往，要与智者往来。Asavana Chabalanam Panditanam Chasavana。一些听众可能对这些句子的背景有所了解。这个故事名为 Akitti Jātaka， 是本圣经的第480卷。佛陀在过去的世，在菩萨时，他出生在瓦拉纳西一个富裕的家庭。到了适当的年纪，他被送往今天巴基斯坦东北部名城塔希拉。那里曾是古代重要的学术中心。在外地生活多年后，他在16岁时毕业并回到家乡。不久之后，他的父母双去世了。在葬礼结束和完成了守孝期后，他和妹妹坐在一起清点遗产时，突然升起了艳丽之心。他心想，这些财产的主人都不在了，他们已无法享用这些财物，而他自己的命运如此而所有不同吗？于是他决定出家 修苦行如禅定。听到哥哥的这个决定，妹妹也做出了相同的决定。他们将一部分财产布施后，剩下的责任由他人去用。因此到布施的缘故，他走到哪里都受到尊敬。但他只想寻找一个僻静的地方进行禅修，最终在遥远的南方的一个岛屿上定居下来。由于附近并无人居住，他只吃当地的一种叶子为生。So at that time, King Saka, king of the Tavatimsa realm, the heaven of the 33, he felt his throne starting to heat up. So of course, according to the ancient stories, when King Saka's throne starts to heat up, there should be some kind of extraordinary incident. So Saka used his psychic powers and surveyed the world. Why is my throne heating up? And what he found was it was the power of Akitti's, a meditation practice, his ascetic practice that was leading to this result. So he did what Saka always does in these stories. He decided to descend from the Tavatimsa to the human realm in disguise. And in disguise, he would, as he was disguised as a Brahmin beggar, he came to Akitti's hut. And when Akitti saw him, Akitti was very happy because this is his chance to develop his quality of generosity, to do some kind of a dana, which is very rare for someone like him practicing alone on an island. So the only thing he had to offer were his boiled leaves. And that is exactly what he did. He offered the leaves to the Brahmin. But what was unusual was not that he offered the leaves, but he could have easily prepared more leaves, of course, because the island is full of trees. But he immediately set to his meditation. He didn't prepare more leaves. And so he went without food for that day. So the second day and the third day, Saka came in disguise. He went for alms as a Brahmin beggar. And all three days, the same thing happened. And Saka was a little bewildered. He couldn't figure out what was going on. And so he decided, it's better I just ask Akitti, why are you doing this? Akitti said, so he went and he had a discussion with Akitti, and the discussion is recorded in verse. So I didn't quote all the verses. I'll quote some of the verses later. So the first thing, Saka asked Akitti, why are you practicing like this? And Akitti explains, birth, aging, and death, living in the samsara, living with kilesas, all of this is suffering. So because of that, I am practicing this sort of lifestyle. Well, King Saka was very impressed by this, and he offered to give him a wish. So he offered to give him a wish, and he said to him, so Akitti made his first wish. And so his first wish, he gave a list of things. He said, family and wealth and property. I wish to be free of greed and attachment for all these things. So Saka knew he didn't have the power to grant this kind of wish. So he asked him to make another wish. So Akitti said, yes, okay, well, all things in the world, all material things, they're subject to age and decay. And so I would like to be free from such age and decay. So again, Saka says, okay, how about another wish? He gives him another wish. And so his wish is to only associate with the wise and not to associate with fools. And so Saka is becoming more and more impressed. He gives him another wish. And the wish is, the request from Akitti is that he would have the chance to do dana to virtuous ascetics, people keeping sila and practicing their meditation. And so finally Saka gives him one more wish. And the final wish is that Saka will go away and not come back. So Saka is shocked by this. He says, normally people invite me to come. Everybody likes to see King Saka. But here you don't want to see me. So what he said was that, I came here to practice for the sake of release from all suffering, but if you keep coming here and I see what sort of the beauty of the Deva realm, maybe I'll become distracted from my goal, and maybe that will lead me away from this practice. So he asked Saka to leave and not come back. And so that's what Saka did. And Akitti continued his practice until the end of his life and was reborn in Brahma Loka.当时33天的地血天王突然感到自己的王座开始发热，于是他将注意力转向了人间。当他意识到这些苦行者阿基帝的修行力量影响了他的王座时，地血天王便决定乔装下凡前往会阿基帝。他化身为一位婆罗门骑射者，来到阿基帝的茅棚。阿基帝很高兴有布施供养的机会，于是他将准备好的叶子供养给他。然而，当婆罗门受食离开后，阿基帝因没有准备多余的叶子，他直接去打坐了。紧接着连续3天的发生同样的事情，这让地血天王感觉百思不解。于是他想最好的方法就是直接去问阿基帝以了解阿基帝的意图。两人这段的对话被以寄送的形式记录下来了。字寄送的大意为：地血天王问阿基帝，你为何独自一个人待在如此炎热难受的地方？阿基帝回答说，无明烦恼，生死轮回是苦。当他意识到这一点，便决定独自生活，潜心修行。地血天王听后对此回答案深为赞赏，决定用他的神通力量满足阿基帝的一个愿望。然而，阿基帝的愿望并非地血天王所能实现。他渴求摆脱对家庭、财富和房产的贪欲。听到此，地血天王越发越动赞叹，又提出了阿基帝可再是另一个愿望。阿基帝即提出，所有一切物质都会随着时间的流逝而衰耗，他希望摆脱这种衰败。地血天王无奈，又再次提出满足他另一个愿望。阿基帝希望自己永远不与人为伍，而希望能够遮着为伴。在这一个愿望，阿基帝希望能够布施 不是给有德行的苦行者。而最后一个愿望是希望地释天王离开，且永不再来。地释天王听到最后一个愿望后，他大吃一惊，说人们一直都是恳求他来拜访。阿吉提解释道，因眼见地释天王广灿庄严的形象，他可能会想放弃他的静处独修。地释天王随后即离开，而阿吉帝最终已往生入梵天界。So I've summarized the story a little bit, even though it's not that short, and also the verses. So to select the verses that have been cited. So this story, to go back to the start, this story was cited in the Mangala Sutta commentary as an example of not associating with fools and associating with the wise. And so in that commentary, these verses are cited, and the translation here is by Bhikkhu Bodhi. The same verses can be found in the actual Jataka. May I never see or listen to a fool, and may I not dwell with a fool. May I not converse with a fool, and may I not approve of one. What has the fool done to you? State the reason, Kassapa. And Kassapa is the clan name for Akitti. For what reason, Kassapa, do you not wish to see a fool? The deluded fellow leads one to ruin. He enjoins one in reckless ways. He is hard to guide the good. Spoken to rightly, he gets upset. He does not know discipline. It is good not to see such a one. As if taking hold of a blazing coal, by their own wrong understanding, they destroy themselves and those who follow their advice. May I see and listen to a wise person, and may I dwell together with the wise. May I converse with a wise one, and may I approve of him. What has the wise one done to you? State the reason, Kassapa. What is the reason, Kassapa, that you wish to see a wise person? The wise person follows what is right. He does not enjoin one in reckless ways. He is easy to guide to the good. Spoken to rightly, he is not upset. He understands discipline. It is good to encounter him. 我省略了阿基蒂故事中的许多细节，如果你们感兴趣，可以自己去读。以下是吉祥经注释中的所引用的寄送的译文，有菩提比丘译。愿我永不见，不闻于人；愿我不与于人共住；愿我不与于人交流；愿我不与于人有共见。那愚人是对你做了什么？说明清楚。假设是阿基帝的祖姓，到底是何理由？假设你不愿见到愚人呢？无耻之人，因人堕落，以妄见阿言传令他人。他难以引人向善，即使以正于劝诫，他仍会恼怒。他不懂道德规范，最好不要见到这样的人。像就像徒手握了一块吃烧的炭火，由于自己的错误见解，他们不但烧毁了自己，也毁灭了那些听从他们劝告的人。愿我能够与智者相遇，并聆听教导。愿我 愿我能够与智者同住，愿我能够与智者交流，与他共建的。到底智者对你做了什么？说明清楚。假设到底是何理由？假设你想要见到智者呢？智者遵循正道，不以妄见爱言传令他人。他精于引人向善，受人正言相助，也不沮丧。他懂得道德规范，也这样的智慧者相聚，与这样的智者相聚，实为大幸。Now, the implication is that this behavior is, in a sense, contagious, good or bad behavior. And so by associating with a fool or a wise person, our behavior will tend to fall in line with their behavior. There's a sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya, Balapandita Sutta, Sutta 129, and it outlines 3 disadvantages that somebody who with bad behavior will experience in this very life. Now, we're translating this word bala as fool, and it's not really a strong enough word, I think, in modern English. Maybe when they originally translated the sutta 120 years ago, it was strong enough. But you can see from the context of the sutta, something like crook or libertine would be more appropriate for this word. So I've summarized the first 2 of the disadvantages, and the third one I'll quote from Ajahn Sujato's translation here. So in the first disadvantage is that when this kind of a person hears others talking about bad behavior, criticizing bad behavior, then they'll feel ashamed. They'll realize that all of the kinds of things that they're criticizing, that's exactly the way I'm behaving. And so they'll feel this kind of shame. And so sometimes, like in the modern day also, you can see that these kinds of discussions go on in social media, and if somebody's behavior comes out, they might be forced to like make a public apology. We see this a lot these days. People, they're forced to make public apologies on social media and things like that. So all of this kind of sense of shame can happen from these sorts of incidents. So the second disadvantage is fear. Second disadvantage is fear. So somebody who is misbehaving, then when they see somebody else who's done exactly the same thing and they're being punished, and in the sutta it gives some examples from ancient India. And for example, I won't give the examples, but there are all kinds of cruel and unusual punishments that it lists that the kings would do to criminals. It's a standard list, and the commentary explains them in great detail. So when somebody sees all of this, they'll feel a sense of fear. Oh, this could happen to me. And again, you can see this happening online. Some people we can sort of reflect on some people who've lost their jobs or have suffered like a lot of humiliation because of something that they've done, and it's become public. So the third disadvantage is regret, and regret that follows one like a shadow. And so I will quote from Ajahn Sujato's translation of the sutta. Furthermore, when a fool is resting on a chair or a bed or on the ground, their past bad deeds, misconduct of body, speech, and mind, settle down upon them, rest down upon them, and lay down upon them. It is like the shadow of a great mountain peak in the evening, as it settles down, rests down, and lays down upon the earth. In the same way, when a fool is resting on a chair, or a bed, or on the ground, their past bad deeds, misconduct of body, speech, and mind, settle down upon them, rest down upon them, and lay down upon them. Then that fool thinks, alas, I haven't done good and skillful things that keep me safe, and I have done bad things, violence and sin. When I depart, I'll go to the place where people who've done such things go. They sorrow and wail and lament, beating their breasts and falling into confusion. This is the third kind of suffering and sadness that a fool experiences in this very life. 所以，我们可以说，不管是善行或恶行，都是会传染的。正如中部仙语经中部129中所描述的行为，行为不良的人，今生会遭遇到3种不善的忧苦。当一个心术不正的人无意中听到旁人谈论道德品行的时候，他会感到羞愧，他会痛苦地意识到，别人正在批评的那些不良恶行，正是我线下在做的。在社交媒体当道的今天，这有时候会导致被迫公开的忏悔，却未必有益。也许这反而引起了越发强烈的羞耻感和自尊心的丧失。这不正恶行所导致的第二个忧苦是恐惧。当一个心恶之人看到别人因为做了些他惯常习俗的事而受到惩罚时，他会充满恐惧，想要遮盖自己所做的。在经章中所列举了一些古代印度国王所施予的惩罚，其恐惧残酷程度非凡一般。当然，我们无需去联想到监狱或断头台之类的惩罚。在如今的现实已有大量的网红因种种不当行为被公诸于世，而直接丢下神坛，身败名裂。不正恶行的第3个弊端是如影随形的懊悔。经文如实描述，阿张苏加多音译。带着愚人或座椅或卧于床榻或席地而眠时，昔日身口意3业之恶行，如为恶善淫般倾压而来。这些恶行沉降其心，盘踞其心，侵蚀其心，犹如暮色中巨大纷乱的阴影笼罩着大地。无者的恶行亦如压迫其身，盘踞其身，侵蚀其身，无是无者死之哀哉。 我未曾积极善行以获安稳，却多行暴虐罪恶之事。病终之后，必堕亡恶处，遂捶胸悲泣，心乱神迷，自己物质现世所受到的三种忧苦。So we have in Mangala Sutta the two sides of the coin, associating with not associating with fools and associating with the wise. So there are some suttas in the Anguttara Nikaya, a pair of suttas, and then each of them enumerates 7 qualities of a person. If a person has 7 qualities, one should associate with them. And so since the suttas are short, I'll quote them here. English translation, Ajahn Sujato. The first one is Anguttara Nikaya. It's in the 7s, and it's sutta number 36. Mendicants, you should associate with a friend who has 7 factors. What 7? They give what is hard to give. They do what is hard to do. They endure what is hard to endure. They reveal their secrets to you. They keep your secrets. They don't abandon you in times of trouble. They don't look down on you in times of loss. You should associate with a friend who has these 7 factors. And the second sutta is immediately following that one. It's sutta number 37 in the group of the 7s in the Anguttara Nikaya. Again, translation by Ajahn Sujato. Mendicants. When a friend has 7 qualities, you should associate with, accompany, and attend them, even if they send you away. What 7? They're likable, agreeable, respected, and admired. They admonish you, and they accept admonishment. They speak on deep matters, and they don't urge you to do bad things. When a friend possesses these 7 qualities, you should associate with, accompany, and attend them, even if they send you away. 从愚人的反面角度来看，这只善知识在藏支部有2部关于善友的经文。藏支部7.36，阿藏苏迦多的音译。诸比丘，当亲近着诸七法之善友，岂能是难岂能是难岂能是难事之物？岂能行难行之事？Sorry, I'll start that again here. 诸比丘，当亲近诸七法之善友，岂能是难事之物？岂能行难行之事？岂能忍难忍之境？能向你倾诉心事，为你保护秘密，在危难不弃不离，如落魄时不轻视逼迫。还有另外一部藏支部7.37，诸比丘，若有人助其法，纵使其玩具，若已应主动亲近，并常随侍，云何是此其种善法，令人欢喜好乐，被受敬重且受人推崇，能直言规劝，亦能接受劝诫，探讨深奥法义，不所涉作恶。 So we're talking about different sorts of things that we can do to support our meditation. And the Mangala Sutta has mentioned, of course, this first verse and a second verse right at the start of the Mangala Sutta, that is living in a suitable location. So we have some advice also from the sutras about how to find a suitable location. So there are actually more suttas than you might expect that deal with this issue. The commentary mentions that it should be a place where the Buddhist teachings are flourishing. It specifically mentions the fourfold assembly. So the monks, nuns, male and female lay Buddhists. So at present day, that might not be that easy. Of course, we have to choose a location based on where we have a passport, where we can get a job, etc. But we can change our microenvironment. So just maybe we can't change the whole society around us, but we can make some changes in like our local community to sort of help with that, to help with our Dhamma practice, but also to help with the Dhamma practice of those around us. So for monastics, so we have a situation here where for the monks it's not quite parallel with lay people because the monks have to consider, or the nuns, they have to consider about how to get food, especially in ancient India, going on alms round, uh, and where lay people wouldn't have to consider that. But there are other factors that are more similar. So, for example, the monks and nuns, they have to consider like the distance from the village. And so even today, you can see the most monasteries, they're within maybe like a 10-minute walk, a 20-minute walk of the nearest village, even though often there'll be people coming in from the larger cities to bring meals. But if you're too close to a large urban center, then people will come and disturb the meditation. So it's important to balance those things. But for lay people, of course, you have a different calculus. So it's important to have a job but also to have a suitable place to live. And typically people will have to make some tough decisions there. So I think for those of you living in North America, you know about sort of the long commuting times. I think not every country is like that, but in North America, it's quite frequent. People will commute maybe 3 hours a day from the suburbs to their place of work in the city center. And so, but by doing this, they lose a certain amount of time in driving, but they gain a more peaceful environment at home, a cleaner air, maybe a larger property, and also sometimes you have better opportunity, better facilities at the school for the children. So we're also advised for the monks, especially, we're supposed to try to find a place that is near to our meditation teacher. And so we're supposed to spend 5 years training, at least 5 years training under a teacher. So typically that either means going to Asia or essentially staying in one place for 5 years, which is what most of us do. I went to Nauyana Monastery in Sri Lanka. So for lay people, it might not be reasonable to live right near to a meditation teacher, but you still have lots of teachings available online, of course. And if you can live in a place that's near to other Buddhists who are practicing meditation, keeping sila, you can discuss Dhamma with them time for time. You can still consider that a suitable place to live, like in the sense of supporting your Dhamma practice. 地想经中，佛陀提到了 应居住于适宜之地。何谓宜居之地呢？在注释中提出了多种建议，但神系根本。此处应有共修八圣道分的佛弟子，经中已强调的四种弟子：比丘、比丘尼、优婆塞、优婆夷共住。此处即是一个佛法昌盛宜居之地。此教示看似浅显，但却不易遵行。尽管我们虽无法在大环境下改变社会，但仍可营造一个鼓励法有共修的小环境。在经藏中，对僧众选择住处亦有详细的指导。总的来说，需居住生活质量、环境清净、少食物，易于亲近老师。在家禅修者虽无需要考量托钵条件，但基于现代都市中仍面临类似考量。比丘需要权衡村落距离以平衡供养与进修，居士则需居士则协调居住条件与工作通勤。在北美部分地区的上班族，每日花3小时往返于郊区住宅与市中心的办公室，虽开车耗时，却换得较低的生活成本、清洁的空气与相对宁静的环境。对基于某些国家的地区的修行者，找到合适相应的善知识老师尤为困难。若如此，只要能无忧无束地修习八圣道，如今网络发音流通，但也仍可见为适宜之处。So, to get benefit, whatever place we choose to live, the Buddha mentions that to get some kind of benefit from that place, we have to have certain qualities in ourselves. And so there's a sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya that lists 5 qualities. I think I didn't quote the sutta, but I have the 5 qualities here. So the first quality is faith. So if we want to get some benefit from our Dhamma practice, we have to have suitable faith in the practice. Good health. It especially mentions digestion, which is kind of interesting. So if we don't have good health wherever we're living, we won't be able to practice meditation and get proper results. Honesty and openness. So here it's especially talking about openness and honesty with the meditation teacher or our spiritual friends. Enthusiasm for developing the path. So we have to have effort. And finally, wisdom. We have to use our wisdom to develop the path in the most effective way. 佛陀在相应部46.44特别提醒，入得益于适宜的环境，行者内心需具足5种素质：信心、健康、时时开放、休息热忱、智慧。So this is just a couple of verses from the start of Mangala Sutta, and we only sort of touched on some of the topics involved. So there are all kinds of teachings related to different things we can do to deepen our meditation practice, or to create the foundation for deepening our meditation practice, but when maybe we don't have the time to spend in formal meditation. So I hope that these reflections and then these selections from the suttas will be helpful to your Dhamma practice, so you may be happy, healthy, peaceful, and content, and swiftly attain the peace of Nibbana. 事实上，还有很多教法可以更深入探讨这个相关主题。我们今天仅就丁香经之数注经文展开讨论。愿今天所谈到的内容对诸位的实修有所注意。祝大家身心安康，宁静满足，并早证涅槃之乐。So we'll open the floor for questions if there's anything.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante, very much for your teaching today on the Akitti Jātaka. May we open the floor for today's questions. You can submit your question to Zoom Q&A and chat now.
If anyone want to ask the question verbally, please raise the hand.
So I think since we have only one more talk, maybe next time if someone could suggest the topic, it's probably useful. And
okay, I think, yeah, any suggestion, please send to the our Gmail or send to my WeChat. Will be just fine. Yeah.
If there are no more questions, then may Bhante lead us in making aspiration and sharing merit, please. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Idam me punyang
Idam me punyam
asavakaya
asawakaya
kahang hotu.
vaham hotu.
Idam me punyang
Idam me punyam
nibbanasu
nibbanasa
pachayo hotu.
pachayo hotu.
Mama punya bhagang
Mama punya bhagam
sambasatanang
sambasatanam
bhajami
bhajemi
te sambe
te sabe
me samang
me samam
punya bhagang
punya bhagam
labhantu.
labantu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante, again for your teaching today. Bhante, please feel free to leave Zoom at your convenience. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We have a few announcements to make. Bhante Jinaratana next teaching lesson 6 will be the same time on Sunday, October 5th evening in US and Monday, October 6th morning in Asia. This will be the last lessons about 2025 per our Vasa Zoom teaching series. The next for next week, we will have Sayadaw Kumara Vivamsa teaching on the Buddha and his great disciples on fourth great disciple, Venerable Mahakassapa, Sequel 2. It will be 1 hour earlier versus today's schedule, and on Saturday, September 27 evening in US, and Sunday, September 28 morning in Asia. If you would like to donate teacher for allowable requisites or to support our monastery, please use our PayPal account. You are also welcome to send a check too. There will be 2 PayPal accounts. One is for the teacher allowable requisites, and one is for the monastery support. We sincerely thanks to Sister Pauline Su and Sister Melody Tang leading the efforts for English and Chinese captions to Venerable Jinaratana teaching. The caption videos are available on Pa'ao Georgia YouTube now. Please check out our YouTube channel and please follow us on Facebook. Any further suggestion or inquiries, please feel free to email us. Thank you everyone for your time and participation. May all be well, happy, and healthy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.